What's up, everybody? I know how difficult it can be to learn a new language. No, it's not one of those. Hi, guys. This is my channel, Laughing Polyglot, the channel that makes learning languages fun. I want to make learning language funner. Is that even a word? It's a good thing I'm not teaching English. I've got a lot of great ideas and experience that I want to share with everyone in the future, but today I just want to get my feet wet and talk a little bit about my approach to learning languages. Because if there's one thing that language learners and polyglots like to talk about as much as the languages that they're learning, it's how to learn a language. What I want to share with you today, it's not the best way to learn a language, but it's the way that I learn languages. I think that learning language is a very personal experience. It's unique to every individual, and no people do it the same. So really, there's as many ways to learn a language as there are people learning them. Shout out to all the language learners out there. There are so many talented people out there, and I'd love to hear about your experiences learning languages, because I can always learn something new from you, and I hope that you might learn something new from me. I want to give another big shout out to someone who actually inspired me to make this video today. It's actually one of my first Vietnamese teachers. Dạ em kênh của em sẽ rất tuyệt. Her first video premiered. I watched it. I was so inspired, and that's why I'm here today. And I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. That's why I'm holding this microphone. So if any of you guys are interested in learning Vietnamese, I put the link to the video in the description box down below, so check it out. So let's get started. Over the course of learning multiple languages, I've come to recognize 3 stages that I go through. So stage 1. Now, in stage 1, I usually start with learning the writing system. If the language doesn't use the Latin alphabet like English, my objective in stage 1 is to be able to read the language, but not necessarily be able to understand it. So I learn the consonants first and the vowels, and then I learn how to put them together, and then I learn any pronunciation. So there's a lot of focus on pronunciation. So there's lots of drills. If I use Thai as an example, it might sound something like this. Ga, 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 my, he, he. Or Vietnamese, also a tonal language. Ga, 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 ga. Or Hui. Ga, 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 ga. Okay, guys, I got a joke for you. So one day, the student wants to learn Thai. So he's in his first class, he's learning about the consonants. So the teacher says, "Can you pronounce this?" And the student says, "Nga." Oh, the teacher's really impressed, because from her experience, a lot of English-speaking students have always had trouble pronouncing this. So later on, he's learning Vietnamese. Same thing. That this sound comes up, and the teacher asks, "Can you pronounce this?" The student says, "Nga." Wow, again, teacher's really impressed. A lot of people have trouble pronouncing this. So again, one day the student decides to learn Lao, and they come to the consonant again. "Can you pronounce this?" Nga. And then Tagalog. Again, the teacher asks, "Can you pronounce this?" And the student says, Nga. Wow. The teacher's just amazed. And then one day he decides he wants to pick up Korean again. So during the first class, they're reviewing Hangul, and so they look at one particular letter. The teacher romanizes it and asks, "Can you pronounce this?" And the student's like, "Nga." And the teacher's like, No. I mean, this one right here. And the student's like, "Nga." And then the teacher's like, "No, it's I thought it was funny. It's a true story. So I got so used to hearing that question when I was learning languages that I remember this class, and the teacher wrote in romanization NG, and I was like, "Nga," and I just wasn't expecting him to reply and yeah, I would totally overlook the fact that this sound is only used at the end of a word in Korean. It's only a final. Stage 2. This is where I learned the structure of the language, like subject, object, verb. And I learned it through grammar lessons. If you think of the way a textbook is divided, you learn about pronouns, the verb to be, tenses, or theme lessons like at the market, making reservations, telling time, prepositions of place, family. My objective in stage 2 is just to be comfortable in my classes, to be able to read my textbook and do the exercises in my textbook. As an example, in my last Khmer class, I was making sentences like Nhóm so se robai ga samiep on. Nhóm jong ao on ai nhóm lời charan. Nhóm cho jet nham pizza pack cafe. Tangai ni nhóm nang tớ psa. Stage 3. This is the conversational stage. My objective at this stage is just to be able to speak on a broader range of topics and to be able to express myself more accurately. So a couple nights ago, I had a Thai class with a new Thai teacher, and it being the first class, we discussed why I was learning Thai and how I was learning Thai, and it would have sounded something like Tam arai kun rien pasa Thai. Pom rien pasa Thai เพราะว่าผมชอบเพลงไทยแต่ผมไม่เข้าใจเนื้อเพลงไทยเวลาผมเริ่มเรียนภาษาไทยผมเริ่มเรียนพยัญชนะสระกับออกเสียงหลังจากไวยากรณ์เป็นเวลานานผมยังมีสนทนาไม่ได้ผมพยายามมากขึ้นวันหนึ่งผมคิดในภาษาไทยได้ผมอยากเรียนรู้หลายคำศัพท์ใหม่หลายไวยากรณ์ผมคิดว่าถ้าคนเรียนการพูดก่อนเขียนคนอาจจะจำยากกว่า So these stages, they're not like separate, they're overlapping, but I really found it was really difficult to make the transition from stage 2 to stage 3. I really had to force myself to speak Thai. I put myself in situations where I had no choice to speak Thai, and I failed. I failed several times. Eventually, something just kind of clicked, and I always thought of it as I started being able to think in the language I was learning. I started to be able to think in Thai. But this is as far as I've gotten. I've never made it to fluency in any language, but I would say that in several languages I've reached an intermediate level. So I hope you guys find some value in my approach to learning language. I think it's a very logical progression. And I think if you skip some of the steps, like if you just go straight to speaking without learning to write or learning the proper pronunciation, it makes the language really difficult to remember. I often forget. I tried to learn Thai once a long time ago. I was learning through podcasts, and the site didn't have any resources for reading the Thai alphabet or understanding Thai pronunciation. And I remember I couldn't read the lesson notes. I couldn't read the romanization. I didn't understand the Thai script, and I couldn't understand the pronunciation from the recordings, the audio recordings. The voice actor spoke way too fast, and I gave up as quickly as I started. Also, Vietnamese took me a while to start learning because the first teachers that I work with, they didn't spend any time on pronunciation, and I felt like I wasn't speaking Vietnamese at all. So finally, I just decided to find a new teacher, and I started all over again. Guys, thank you so much for watching my video. If you found anything of value, or if you have any of your own tips you want to share about learning languages, please leave them in the comments down below. And of course, if you are interested in Vietnamese, Southern Vietnamese, then check out Talk to Me in Vietnamese. The link is in the description down below. And of course, if you like my video, like and subscribe. I always wanted to say that. Let's get fluent or have fun trying.